So yeah, let's go ahead and start into playing the game here. I guess I'll just read the instructions on here super quickly. It's a puzzle platformer where you control multiple entangled particles to get them to the goal. Try to beat all 13 levels. And the controls are just A and D, W to jump, and R to restart. Okay, seems pretty simple. Do you think I'm good to go with the web build?
Well, web build should work. If you do get laggy inputs, you can download.
Okay. Hasn't been a problem so far. I think I get slightly fewer frame drops when I do a web build versus downloading a file. All right. So, what was your inspiration to make this game for the Jam?
Yeah, so when we heard join together, I think like quantum mechanics, physics, entanglement, superposition, all of these sorts of things were what we thought about first. Kind of rotated through a few different ideas. Thought about magnets as well, which I know a lot of other Jam games have done. But in the end, we ended up coming to the result that like superposition and quantum entanglement was a pretty cool concept to explore more. And also just from the aspect of a Jam game, graphics are pretty simple if you're just making particles and very like abstract ideas. So this was, that definitely fed into our reason for picking this theme.
Yeah, I think that's something that the average person probably struggles with is that they think that if you zoom far enough in, you will actually see like a tiny little ball like all the illustrations, and they don't necessarily understand that a particle is just an excitation in a field and it doesn't actually look like anything.
Yeah, I guess when you don't have any expectations of what it should look like, or you don't have any understanding, then it means that we can kind of create our own vision in the player's mind.
Yeah. It's the quantum realm is just such a mystery. I do think it's funny. Just really quickly, submit. There are your instructions for how to submit your game. I do think it's funny that you mentioned like, oh yeah, I think of things linked together, and the first thing I think of is quantum mechanic, superposition, and quantum entangled particles. I don't think that's the average person what they think of first. Do you have any like background in physics?
No real background in physics. We're all like software engineers that are building this, but I'd say just pretty generically nerdy folks, and it's just a fun thing to think about and expand on.
Absolutely. I think I can add myself to, I definitely have a passing interest in understanding these things, even if I never took much beyond, I think I had a grade 11 class in physics. Oh wow, Mark is playing this game right now too, apparently.
Oh, really?
I will totally understand if you want to hop out and check out his stream.
No, I'm good to stay here.
I'll go back and catch the replay since there won't be any interaction there.
I guess that it's
that's
cool
awesome
to see
hear.
it happening.
Thanks for
But yeah, MayFK, thank you so much for pointing that out. All right, so let's continue with the questions then. So what was your development process like for the game?
Do you want to take this one, Raiden? Since I think you are back in the Discord and working.
Yeah. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yep.
I think we actually spent like a pretty short amount of time trying to brainstorm how the mechanics should work. And then from that point onward, it was just like, okay, you got to learn a bit of Unity. How does that work? And I think we did a pretty good job at separating our like responsibilities. And it's only like probably like maybe like 6 hours before the deadline that everything started to come together and graphics started to kick in as well, and like the game started to shape up. And until then, it was just like a blue-colored ball on like a really ugly white background, and everything was like pretty messy. So yeah, I think we had I think everybody contributed coding-wise. Redshirt was by far our inspiration for music and levels. So if you're getting annoyed with any level, like just like, okay, blame it on Redshirt, with one exception. So yeah, I think that was our process, and we also had a lot of fun in while we worked on it, because we actually like everybody drove to my house, so we were able to like do this like physically in the same room. So it's way better.
Yes. All right.
Yeah, I think that was a huge thing as well, just to build off of like being able to be in person together, especially just such a year of just solitude, I guess. Being able to like be together in one place for 48 hours, it really made that join together theme feel more than just like part of the game, but really like, hey, we were getting a chance to like be together in person and work on this.
Yes, I'm really glad that you were able to do that. I know that it's always a lot of fun to work on game jams with other people in person. There's a local jam that I participate in here in Toronto that is like that as well, you know, when times are better. And yeah, it's one of my favorite jams of all time, really. Hard to beat that in-person feeling.
Well, this was our first jam
Nice.
together. Actually, I think it was like maybe the first jam for Redshirt, and maybe for our other teammates. I did maybe like 1 or 2 jams before, but
All right. So MayFK is passing along some of Mark's thoughts. We've seen quite a few games similar to this one on stream, but this is probably the best one. Oh, nice. That's a high praise.
That's very high praise. Yeah.
All right. So we'll continue with our next question then, which is, can you recommend a useful shortcut or a clever hack that would be helpful to other Unity developers?
Boy, do you have something written?
I mean, I like this is the first time I played with shader graph, and I totally loved it. And I can't like, for example, the laser is built with it. I really cannot imagine like trying to build that manually, like scripting wise, and trying to write it. Or it is like it's probably doable for sure, but not in 48 hours and not knowing how to do it ahead.
Yeah, I think that I've only messed with shader graph like a very, very tiny bit, and other than that, I don't actually understand how to write shaders other than I understand how to grab other people's shader code and kind of make small tweaks until it does what I want it to.
Yeah.
Like I have just enough experience with programming that I can figure out what things I can change in very, very, very basic shaders. Like anything that gets more complex. I was writing a gradient shader as part of my day job that would, take one color and lerp it over to another color, and I didn't know how to do the math for getting it to accept an arbitrary angle, so I just wrote separate shaders for horizontal, vertical, and on a diagonal. Because I figured those would be the only ones that would be using most of the time.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's my experience with writing shaders is just like, well, I don't know how to do it right, but I do know how to do this part, so as long as it's my responsibility to do this, what matters is that it works. All right, well, again...
It definitely resonates with me working through some of this stuff in Unity as well, like first time coding in Unity, and it's like, I don't understand a lot of these patterns. I don't know a lot about like how to make singletons or like get stuff to persist across scenes. So it was very much like, let's copy this code from online and edit it just enough to make it work for the purpose of the jam game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like jam game development and like large scale game development are pretty different, unless you have like a high degree of I guess experience to apply that. So like for sure, like our code is not filled with best practices in how to write a Unity game if you actually want to make this production ready.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the context of a jam, you're just generally not going to have the best practices.
Yeah.
Just sort of
like there's a lot of duplication, or I know like an example would be like the level indicator, like what level you're in. It's just like hard coded for each of those scenes. It's not derived from anything.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Again, like in the context of a jam, it's sort of to be expected.
Absolutely, yeah.
So even if it is something that's relatively trivial to get working, to make it extensible, like sometimes you just don't have that like hour to spare because this is only going to take you 20 minutes, and you're saving 40 minutes, and that's what you need.
An interesting
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. Okay, I was gonna say like an interesting technical challenge we had there was around like the polygons, like the shape, like the ground shape,
Yeah.
which was actually built at runtime, or constructed at runtime from multiple just box colliders. But then like the rendering wise, it had to be grouped together. So that was like an interesting way to kind of take some logic out of like Unity and just do like plain C# code to compute like unionized polygons and then bring it back to Unity to render them.
Right. So, anyone in chat, if they have a question, then please go ahead and ask it now. Otherwise, I will move on to, do you have any plans for the game going forward?
You want to take this?
Let me see. I was going to say first, like, I'm very impressed that you're able to come up with these questions and ask them as you're solving these puzzles.
Oh no, I have them written ahead of time.
I definitely could not do that. Oh, okay, that explains a lot. But yeah, I think in terms of building this out further, there is at least one pass of things that I would really like to fix. There's some like finicky physics stuff, some level design issues that like when just the three of us are playtesting, we don't notice it. But obviously now that we've had a bunch of people playing it and also been lucky enough to have a lot of people like yourself play it on stream, we've gotten a bunch of really good feedback and kind of understand some of these pitfalls where like it's not always obvious what to do next, and being able to guide the player a bit more would help from a level design perspective. Other than that, I think like some little stuff like, oh, the music's too loud, the sound effects are too loud. That's probably an initial first pass I'd love to redo. As far as like carrying this on further, I don't know if this is something that we'd want to make like a whole game out of with a bunch of levels. I think there's a lot of meat on the bones here still, and there's a lot of concepts that are being explored simultaneously during the jam game. That could certainly be extended, but I don't know at this point, just in terms of time and like interest too, right? To just continue on with this versus building something new.
I think one thing that I would definitely recommend is decreasing the hitbox on the laser slightly, because it feels like a lot of times I will get somewhat close to it and get killed by it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think a few folks mentioned that as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was really just making hitboxes more generous in general. Like, laser hitbox should be smaller because it's dangerous. Goal hitbox should be bigger because you want to get there. And just,
exactly.
I remember, I forget if it was one of Mark's videos or another video about Celeste, how like, oh, they do all of these little tricks to make the game slightly easier without you noticing it. Like, oh, if you jump 1 pixel too late, then it still lets you jump.
Yep.
So like doing stuff like that, I think just makes a huge difference in the way the game feels without even being like noticeable to the user or the player.
Exactly. Yeah, that is definitely, when you're making a platformer, there's a lot of considerations that, there's a lot of considerations that, I guess as the industry moves forward, there's going to be like more and more platformers are going to be implementing these types of affordances, and anyone that doesn't implement them is going to feel like, why does this feel so bad compared to all the other things out there that feel better? Or not
totally,
bad, but
like
just
going back to old school platformers, like you notice it immediately, like, oh my god, Mario 1 is impossible to play.
Yeah, I think that, it's... If anyone's games hold up well, it's Nintendo's, but there are, like, any of the other contemporary games to, like, Nintendo games from the past, like, they just, few games hold up well under that light. Oh my gosh, okay. I think we've hit the limit of, like, I can't split my focus to play this level while also trying to maintain conversation. That just leaves 2 levels left for chat to complete, even if I can't make it here. But yeah, do you have any people or projects that you would like to promote? A shout out to.
Well, I guess like
I can start.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Raiden. You go first. I've been talking a lot.
I was gonna say like this is our first game, so basically this is the start of the line. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to USB, the third developer on here, who unfortunately couldn't make it to the voice chat. But I think other people to shout out. I mean, we've been watching a bunch of streams where folks have been playing our game throughout, and it's just been amazing to see like all of the reception, all the feedback, and really get a sense of just how kind and like receptive this community is. Being like joining this for the first time, I kind of went in thinking like, oh, game. Like, I obviously know the general video gamer stereotype of like just being complete jerks a lot of times, and like everyone participating in the game jam was not like that at all, and it was just amazing to get all of this super kind, well thought out, constructive feedback, and really like end up in a place where like I want to do this every week. Like I want to spend every weekend up for 48 hours straight to like build a new game and like really iterate and grow as a developer here. So I think just like shout out to everyone involved with this, like all of the kind feedback we've gotten on the review page, all the streamers that have played the game, all of the folks watching. We've seen like some of the same groups of people throughout all these like playing streams. So it's been just awesome to see, to see all of the love in this community.
Nice. I completely agree. I think the GMTK Jam is a really great one. And, you know, you get that feeling, especially from a lot of small jams out there. So, you know, itch.io does have a long list of game jams that people can join to be a part of. So you can always look and see if you can find one that is of interest to you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been looking at some that are a bit longer as well. It's like Redshirt, like Red said, like a week or a month or so. That'd be pretty cool.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the chat here. And yeah, I think that's about everything that I had in terms of questions. So if you have a post-jam version of this game that you'd like me to try out, then please feel free to post it not just to me, but also on the Discord. And then hopefully we can get a conversation going with some other members and see what they have to say.
Will do. Thanks a lot.
All right. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah,
playing the game.
absolutely. All right. Bye-bye
Have a good
then.
one. Bye.
Bye.